clever. I like it. So I decided I'd use it. So I got home, I went to my wife, and I said, hey, you know what, I'm thinking of somebody. It's my biological parent's child, but it's not my brother or sister. And she thought about it long and hard and couldn't figure it out. She said, you know, I give up. Who is it? And I said, I knew you'd never guess. It's the cab driver who took me to the hotel. So open with something that gets attention, keeps people away, and while you're going through, keep your, as you transform it, as you do the body of it, you're going to come up for each one of those 3 topics. You're going to state that point and then support it. Each one of those you're going to support with a statistic, with a story, with some research, with a quote. That's all you have to do. That item and 2 or 3 sentences to support that. And then move to the next item, 2 or 3 sentences to support it. If you follow that, you're opening and then the body and the conclusion, you'll end up with about a 5 to 7 minute speech very easily. The easy part is getting the introduction and the conclusion put together. The conclusion only repeats the introduction, is that right? You don't say it exactly, but you're basically reiterating what you opened up with. So the speech writer's problem and the essay writer's problem is the same as the murderer. The introduction and the conclusion were easy, but what do you do about the body? What you do about the body is just list those topics and then 2 or 3 sentences to support it, and you've got the body of your speech. Make sure that your points don't contradict each other. I've heard speeches where people contradict the points contradict each other. They said this here, and then over here they said something that doesn't seem to fit. It seems congruent. That'll lose your audience right away. They'll think you don't know what you're talking about. You don't want to feel like you're dual-minded. You can't be 2 places at once. Well, unless you're Siamese twin, you can think 2 things at once. That's a different story. But I'll share with you, I actually dated a Siamese twin once. I went on a date. When I got home, my parents said, how was it? Did you have a good time? I said, well, yes and no. I was actually going to marry the Siamese twin because that way I could have a wife and a woman on the side. So we've got the topic, we've got the timing, and we got transforming it into a speech. Now we train. Train is where we learn. Okay? The train part is where we're going to learn how to do the speech. And anything that we've ever learned, any skill has to be taught. Anybody here learned a skill, let's say, like cooking? Right? Nobody ever just shows up and knows how to cook. You got to be taught a few things, right? When I first got married, my wife, she's wonderful with the kids. She's a great wife, but one thing she can't do very well is cook. So I had to teach her how to cook because I worked in restaurants for years. And there was a lot of advantages to teaching her how to cook. For one of the big advantages is I got to be really good friends with the firemen and the paramedics that came around a lot. That was really nice. Second thing was, I never had to worry about teaching the dogs not to bang at the table. That was nice. And then the third real benefit was financial benefit. The flies actually chipped in to fix the screen door. But over the process, she learned how to cook really, really well. And now she can actually put out a pretty good spread. So I'm proud of her. She does really well. But you have to learn any skill. Learn from others. Read books. If you want to learn how to speak, go to speeches. Watch people speak. Go to a Toastmaster meeting where people speak. You go to a church. There's a speech every week in every church, right? Call it a sermon. How about YouTube? Is there a lot of resources on YouTube? There's a lot of great speakers in there. Just search any topic you want on speaking. You can search. One thing I like to search is Toastmasters speech contest or Toastmasters champions, and you'll get a lot of the best speakers in the world come up. There's guys like Ziegler on there, Tony Robbins, Barack Obama's got speeches on there, Ronald Reagan on speeches. People that are very, very good at speaking. And you can watch them. And don't just focus on the content, watch what they're doing. What their timing looks like, what their facial expressions are like, what their hand gestures are like, how do they stand. Take note of that. And when you're listening to speech, try to see if you can figure out what that speaker's outline was. Recreate that outline as you're listening to it, and then you'll see how they put their speech together. And then practice, 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 practice. You can't get enough practice. Rob mentioned earlier, you can stand all day long in front of the mirror, you can videotape yourself speaking, you can practice in front of your friends. Not the same. Get in front of an audience and speak. And it will scare the heck out of you. But you speak and you overcome that fear, you gain more confidence, and you learn what you need to do. Videotaping is awesome to learn. The great thing about it is you will really see how you look and you can learn from it. The worst part about it is you will really see how you look. It is scary. I had a gentleman in one of the classes that I teach in my program has a speech component in it, so they have to give 5 speeches during this class, each student. This student, in his first speech, had a nervous habit he wasn't aware of. It was a hand gesture problem. About every 15 to 20 seconds, he would grab his crotch, with no knowledge that he was doing it. He was just nervous. And I said, you're not Michael Jackson. You can't really do that stuff. So he had no idea. I take him aside and talk with him and say, are you aware of this? And he's like, no. I think I don't even came back to class for 2 weeks, but no, he didn't. So be aware of that. Videotape will show you those kind of things. For every speech you give, there will be 3 speeches. There will be the speech you prepared. There will be the speech you gave. And then there will be the speech you wish you had given. Always that way. Okay? Just know that and learn from it. And get honest feedback. Ask people to honestly give you feedback. It's okay to take the shots, because that's the only way you're going to learn. And this is where something like a Toastmasters type environment can really help, because they will evaluate as you speak and help you. So we have topic, timing, transform, train, and the last one is try. Try just means do it, like Nike. Just do it. Any Fresno State football fans in here? Probably not. Yeah, if we were up in the north, one of those other colleges that probably would be. That coach has a slogan. He says, anyone, anywhere, anytime. He'll play anyone, anywhere, anytime. That needs to be your attitude when it comes to speaking anywhere. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. I'll speak in front of anyone. I'll speak anywhere. You just tell me when. Always have something ready in your back pocket related to your area of expertise. Most of you tend to be medical. I know some business people in here too. Most of you tend to be medical. Whatever it is you know it. And have an outline for a talk that you can do. A 5-minute talk, always ready to go. Let me tell you what, you'll be perceived as an expert in no time. There was a company I worked for in San Diego, and Rob kind of touched on this, but this company I worked for in San Diego, the boss who owned the place, we would go to these meetings and meet people. We were a construction management company. We tried to get jobs. Basically, we didn't build anything. We didn't design anything. We didn't engineer anything. We just managed. We were consultants. And we had to get work from people. And he would talk to somebody at a party or a mixer or a networking event or a council meeting or something. And if they said, do you know anybody that can do this kind of a project? He'd say, oh, yeah, we do that. And then we come back to the office and he'd say, do you know how to do that? No, you do by Monday because we have a contract. That's how it worked. And I learned a lot about how to do things. And I learned a lot of the skills that way because I had to. My job was in jeopardy if I didn't. Just the idea. Yeah, I'll do that. I can do that. And take a risk. Now, risk, not unnecessary risk. Don't go walking in the bad part of town at night. I made that mistake once. I wanted to kind of see a part of LA I hadn't seen before, and I'm walking down the street at night, and I got jumped by some guys, and they beat me up, but I fought back, because I don't take a lift and sit down. I fought back as hard as I could, and we went at it for a long time. They finally overcame me, and took the 67 cents I had in my pocket. The guy looked at me and he said, you fought this hard for 67 cents? I said, oh, is that all you wanted? I thought you wanted the $200 in my shoe. You can take a risk, but not an unnecessary risk. Try a new skill, something you don't know. If you get pretty good where you can give a speech pretty well, try a skill that augments it. A new skill that augments it could be acting classes. If you have time for that, because that's a good skill. It's presenting, and it actually makes the speaker better. Stand-up comedy, I tried that. Let me tell you, it hurts. It's a very stressful situation. It's one thing to stand up in front of a group like you, and I'm going to throw a few cheesy jokes out and you laugh. It's great. If you don't, no big deal. Do you know what it's like standing up on a stage where people will pay a cover charge and a 2-drink minimum, and they expect to laugh? That's a lot of pressure. So that's what you have to do, is challenge yourself. Do something that's a little bit scary. Learn how to do storytelling. There's places that teach you how to tell a good story, because in a speech, if you can tell a good story, it'll really make your speech go really, really well. All right. And just learn how to have, in some way, one way of saying it, more courage than common sense. Okay? So you want to get better, you want to become an expert. The fact is that in your, whatever field you're in, if you can learn how to speak competently and confidently about whatever topic you know, you'll be perceived as an expert. Experts